was always the Jag. Always the Jag. Always the Jag.
I think if we're going into the Bengals, what are our key things to think about? Well, again, we knew we had to neutralize Derek Brown, and we did that. So against the Bengals, it's the same thing except Trey Hendrickson, which is harder to neutralize a guy who plays on the edge than plays on the inside, right? Because your center and your guard are right there looking at the defensive tackle's face, and they can easily get into him. For your guard playing on the edge and your tackle, again, the defensive end's whole goal is to get around the tackle because there's no one on that left side. Like for Derek Brown, if he's lined up in between Fortner and Cleveland, not Fortner, if he's lined up between Hainsey and Cleveland, he's got to either go through Cleveland or go through Hainsey. But if I'm Trey Hendrickson, I don't have to go to I'm lined up on the edge, so I don't have to go through, if we're looking at the other side, I don't have to go through Macari or Anton Harrison. I can go and just try to get around Anton Harrison, and it's Anton Harrison's job to get to me, right? So it kind of makes it a little bit tougher, and so we'll see if we chip or what we do to neutralize Trey Hendrickson, because it's harder to neutralize an edge guy than it is to neutralize an inside guy. But if we're able to do that, then Trevor should have time. And the Bengals' weakness is their secondary. Cam Taylor-Britt is not, like, if you replace J.C. Horn with the Bengals' best cornerback, Cam Taylor-Britt, he's not making that play. Travis Hunter has a touchdown right there, right? So, and the Bengals drafted to kind of prepare for losing guys in their secondary because they didn't want to pay Jesse Bates, but it didn't work out. And a lot of those guys, some of them have made some plays here and there, but they give up a lot of yards. And Joe Flacco just torched them for 314, right? And most people are looking at that Browns team like, wow, it's not very good. So, and I'm surprised by how many people are actually picking the Jaguars to come out on top of this one. So I'm really excited to see this game. I think there's a good chance let's just think for a second, because Brock Purdy just went out. He's out for 2 to 5 weeks. George Kittle is on injured reserve. Jaguars have a beautiful opportunity to go into Monday Night Football at 4-0. And I think that's something that every Jaguars player needs to just keep in their minds and remember, because the Bengals are a very good team and it can be a shootout, right? But again, their weaknesses, like our secondary right now, at least our secondary played better than their secondary did. I don't know if it's better because our secondary was pretty bad last year, as was their defense, but they played better, right? Now, again, Bengals wide receivers are all world, right? Jamar Chase, Brian Thomas Jr. is not that. Travis Hunter, Brian Thomas Jr., and Travis Hunter is not T. Higgins. But again, our wide receivers don't have to be as good as their wide receivers. Our wide receivers just have to be better than their secondary. And I think they are. And I think their wide receivers are probably better than our secondary too. But is their offensive line going to give Joe Burrow the time to make those passes? Because again, they have Shamar Stewart, he's going to take some time. He didn't really do much in the Browns game. They have Trey Hendrickson, who's a little more consistent than Josh Hines-Allen, but most agree they're probably on the same caliber. But then we have Trayvon Walker. So the difference is going to come down to the pocket pressure. Who can get more pressure on the cornerback, right? Because our receivers can beat their secondary. Our guys can beat their secondary. Their receivers can beat our secondary. So the only difference is who's going to get the quarterback on the ground. And our offensive line was playing really well. Bengals offensive line has not played so well. So we'll see. The difference in this game is going to be the trenches, right? Because like I said, our receivers don't have to be as good as theirs. They just have to be better than their secondary. And I think we can all agree that they are. And also the running game too. The Bengals weren't really running the ball very well against the Browns, and I don't think they were run blocking as well either. And so if we're able to run the ball effectively, that gives us control. Now, again, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase can score that's why it's tough to go against a team like that, because they can score without hesitation, right? But you still need some time, right? So if we're able to control the clock and win in the trenches, that's the victory right there, right? So it's all about neutralizing Trey Hendrickson, and it's all about our defensive line has to play better than their offensive line, and our offensive line has to play better than their defensive line, right? And if we do that, we will win because the secondaries match up very well. So we'll see. And again, like I said, the Jaguars, if the Texans lose to the Texans schedule, Jaguars, it's not like our schedule is easy to open up, right? Like we had the Panthers, yeah, great. But then we got Bengals, Texans, 49ers. All team 49ers are 2 years from the Super Bowl. Texans have won the division last 3 years. Bengals are perennially going to be in the playoffs of the Super Bowl or have run their division. So they're not like cakewalks, right? But the Texans got the Rams and the Buccaneers, 2 playoff teams from last year. If the Texans lose, they're going to come into our stadium reeling at 0-2. And if we win in Cincinnati, we're going to come back home at 2-0, feeling great. And I picked us to win our home game against the Texans because I think this is going to take some time for the young Texans receivers and that young Texans tackle offensive line to get going. And the Texans, CJ Stroud is feeling the heat. I don't know why the Texans keep depleting their offensive line, but they do. And it's making CJ Stroud hurt. And, the Colts are doing their own thing. We don't really need to worry about them for right now. But if we have a realistic chance to beat the Texans, a great chance to beat the 49ers in week 4 because Brock Purdy is going to be out for the next 2 to 5 weeks. So if he's out next week and the week after, that third week is when we play them, right? Good chance he'll be out. And we know George Kittle won't be playing because he's on injured reserve. Mac Jones is not going to beat us with those receivers. I think Mac Jones might beat the Saints, so it's a good time for them to play them. Mac Jones is not going to beat us, even in San Francisco. So we could win that game. If we surprise and take the Bengals by surprise and beat them, we'll be going into a showdown with the Chiefs at 4-0 on Monday night. And the Chiefs could be 0-4 after losing to the Chargers. You look at their next games, they've got Eagles, I think Lions, and I want to say Ravens on tap. Just think about that for a second, Jags fans. We could go into our Texans game 2-0, and the Texans could very well be 0-2. And we could go into our Chiefs game 4-0, and the Chiefs could be 0-4. Oh, by the way, Rashee Rice won't be playing in that game. Oh, by the way, Xavier Worthy may not be back because his shoulder injury, they're estimating a few weeks. Unless the Dolphins decide to trade Tyreek Hill back to the Chiefs, which is everyone's rumoring is going to happen. Without those two guys, I'm not saying what's going to happen because Patrick Mahomes is still otherworldly, and I think the Jaguars are a level that they've got to reach. And that's a lot of projection to get from just 1 week. But it all starts right here. So I think you go out there and you prove how good of a team you are, and you prove that Liam Coen has changed his culture and brought a scheme that's going to help. I think we'll see a lot of Travis Hunter because I think we'll see a lot of nickel packages. And I think Travis Hunter is going to play on the outside. And let's see how he does against T. Higgins. My advice, I would, as far as playing guys, T. Higgins has beat Tyson Campbell before. So I think I'm going to, and I don't think Travis Hunter is ready for Jamar Chase. One-on-one or even with safety help. So I would put Tyson Campbell on Jamar Chase and give him some safety help. And let Travis Hunter go against T. Higgins. I mean, again, maybe Tyson Campbell can handle T. Higgins, but I know there was a couple of games where Tyson Campbell was one-on-one. It was a 3rd and 10, and T. Higgins obliterated him. I think he's just faster. And I think Travis Hunter is faster than Tyson Campbell. So that'll be an interesting matchup to see how well that goes. But again, this battle is going to be won in the trenches. This battle is all about the trenches because their secondary can beat ours. Because their wide receivers can beat our secondary, but our secondary can beat our wide receivers can beat their secondary. And their offensive line, if we can dominate their offensive line, that'll be the difference. It'll be a bad pass, it'll be interception, it'll be a deflection, something like that. So let me know your thoughts. Do the Jaguars have a chance to go in and score a major upset against the Cincinnati Bengals? Let Trevor Lawrence exercise his I don't know if that's the right word, not exercise. Whatever the word is for his demons against Joe Burrow, because Trevor hasn't beaten Joe yet. Since that Tigers LSU championship, going all the way back to his freshman year and then last year when the Bengals won. But Joe Burrow wasn't even playing that game. So can Trevor take down Burrow? We'll see. For us to win that game, I will say Trevor's got to play a lot better, especially if he has time. He'll probably have less time because, again, Bengals do have a pass rush. but Trevor's got to play a lot better. So let me know your thoughts. Is it possible for the Jaguars to take home a win here? How do you think the team is going? How do you like the direction of Liam Coen and James Gladstone? And never forget, it was always the Jags.